Welcome.
To the joy of code!
Hello and welcome to episode 435 of The Joy of Coding. My name is Mike Conley. It's so good to have you here. Going to be live hacking on some Firefox stuff today. Going to be reviewing some patches, maybe answering a question or two. Let's get started. Why wait? Let's go. Here's my desktop. Yeah, it's April 1st, 2026, episode 435. I like to call this Critical Thinking and Digital Literacy Day. So be extra vigilant when you're reading stuff on the internet, or when stuff's coming across your sensory apparatus today. Be advised, some people are incentivized to feed you more misinformation or disinformation than usual today, just for laughs. So just be advised. This is just a reminder. And also a reminder that no plan survives breakfast. I think I know what I want to do today, but it might not go according to plan. It might go sideways. It might, we might get stuck, sidelined, distracted. Anything could happen. We'll just deal with it as it comes. Also, I wanted to point out that this agenda that we're looking at is available to you. So if you're watching this on YouTube, there's a link to it in the video description. If you're watching this on Air Mozilla, it's over there in the details section, that away. And if you're watching this on Twitch, it's down in the channel details. And as I update the agenda, if I add text or something, this little spinny will spin in. If you reload the page, you should get the latest stuff. All right, let's get right into it. A question came in from the forum, and the question was, could you please go over the About config preferences for the Nova retheme? So the Nova retheme is something that is coming sometime later this year. It's very, very early days. It's very early days, but it's going to change the look and feel of the browser a bit. And one of the things it does is it changes colors. It changes some of the default colors. And there are two prefs that I'm aware of. I've worked on part of this. I haven't worked on... There's lots of teams working on this. But if you look inside About config, and you look for the term Nova, you'll see that there's one pref here, browser design tokens Nova. This is the one that changes the sort of the built-in colors that we're going to use. And then there's new tab page Nova, and that's to enable Nova, some Nova treatments on the new tab page. Those are the two that I'm aware of. There's also this URL bar Nova feature gate. I'm not sure what that is, but we could try it out. I don't know what that is, but we could try it, but I'm aware of these two. So if I flip that, immediately you can see that there's some style differences there. Like my tabs just got rounder, and if I do the new tab one, I have to open several new tabs, but you're gonna get a rounder search input. You get this sort of hover effect on the top sites. The top sites themselves are a little more compacted. There are more style changes coming, but now notice the toggles look different. So it's a change to some of the default look and feel of the browser. This is very interesting. This I think people noticed this last week. This is not part of the design. This is because we're not even close to being ready to ship this yet. That's why it's off by default. There's going to be, if you flip these prefs, stuff's going to look and feel broken. And that is expected because we're just getting kind of started on it. But I'm curious to know what this will do if I type it. Start typing in. Nothing yet, but let me restart the browser and see if there's any other effects that have to take place after you restart. No, I don't see anything. So those are the three prefs that I'm aware of. Or it's really these two. I don't know what this one does. I'm going to turn that off again. But it also notably makes the toolbar buttons circular, although you can see that the icons, that icon's being cut off. There will be probably some other icons that get cut off, the Firefox View one up here. I wonder what the print icon looks like, or the save page. Any of those larger icons are going to get cut off. So those are going to need to be rejigged a little bit. Let's look at the screenshot one. That one's also getting cut off. So there's icon work as well to do. And what's kind of interesting? I learned about this the other day. I thought this was neat. So we have this thing called Storybook. This is where you can see a lot of our built-in components. We've been populating this with our reusable components for several years now. It's slowly but surely been built up. is kind of a gallery of our reusable components. In fact, what's best is if you can run it, if you want to get the colors right, you want to run it from the command line. Mock Storybook will run this on a local instance of Storybook running on your machine, and it will have like the right colors applied because of the sort of special privileges that SVGs and whatnot have in the browser UI. So this is a local copy of Storybook, and it's like showing me all these different things. And like you've got little things like an email input here, which doesn't sound very fancy, but it gets fancier. Like, this is a reusable component where you can see all the different states that this email field can be in, or a message bar component with the different states that it can be in. And interestingly, it's also got some of the Nova styling applied whenever I have the pref flipped, which is interesting. Page header. So for things like navigation, page nav, the nav sidebar. We're starting to see this inside of settings, actually, the new navigation here also showing up in settings. So that's nice. And what else is kind of interesting? Oh, what I wanted to show you was the icon directory. So this is how you can see all the icons that are in the source code, or that we've found. It's kind of been a wild west. I mean, I think we cleaned up a lot during the last retheme. I think it was called Photon or Proton. I can't remember. The one that happened in like 2020, 2021. We did a lot of like icon consolidation and cleanup, which was good, but there's still quite a bit of duplication and cleanup to do. But this is kind of like a nice catalog of icons and you can see what they look like, and you can try different. I guess when you click on them, what does it do? Did it copy? Oh, it copied the URL for it into my clipboard. That's nice. And I can sort of see what it's like if I change the stroke and the fill. So does that? Yeah, there we go. It just takes. That's interesting. So for some of them, the stroke and the fill have this interesting property where. Yeah, that's neat. And then show full-size icons. Then these full-size icons here with like the Android logo, and some of these are like they have like inline static colors, like this one or this one. This one doesn't seem to be. That's the FXA spinner. I'm not sure where that's used, but I find this kind of interesting. You can see all these icons in the Storybook now. Proton, yeah. I don't know. I think it was a bad idea to call one Proton and one Photon because like they're so. I can never keep them straight in my head which retheme came first. Okay, so those are the preferences that I'm aware of for Nova. Nova is still early days. Expect it to look pretty awkward and strange like this for the foreseeable future until the work is done. We won't probably make more noise about it until there's more, until we feel like it's ready for testing. But, it doesn't break the browser, but it does change the look and feel of it, and there's still lots to do. All right, so that answers that question, hopefully. Next, I want to review some patches. So the first patch I want to review is this one. This is from my colleague Scott. This is about first-time wallpaper setting improvements. So we are running an experiment right now. You may have seen Kit before. Firefox Kit. If you go to like here, you check it out. Kit, new sort of like a mascot, new sort of graphical representation of the spirit of Firefox, and there is a way to we use what are called UTM attribution parameters to get a sense of which entry point you used to download Firefox, and then we can supply different treatments or onboarding treatments whenever that instance runs its first profile. And one of the ones that we're testing right now is what happens if we set your default new tab background to one of these like Kit backgrounds if you downloaded like say this one, if you downloaded via the one of those kit pages. So we're just testing that just to see, and to see if people care, if they like it, if they'd rather change it, if they retain better, if they bounce immediately. Like we're just testing that. But one of the things we realized while we were setting up that experiment is that we don't have a great way of graduate or like transitioning and ending the experiment after we've run it long enough. Because if some people have the kit wallpaper and they become used to it, when the experiment ends, you really want to have them keep it. Like if that's what they're used to, then you don't want to suddenly just like pull the rug out from under them when the experiment ends just because we got our data. We realized that we didn't have a lot of great infrastructure. Like we have a plan for how we can do that using some experiment stuff, but like what we want is a long duration plan for how we deal with experiments like this with wallpapers, where we can try some, and if people change, let people change the default that we had set, but if they want to keep the one that we had set, or if they haven't changed it, to let that persist after the experiment ends. And that is what this bug is about. The idea is have a new pref for the initial wallpaper. Experiments that need to set the wallpaper instead set this pref. This pref is decoupled from the experiment, so if the user is unenrolled, the initial wallpaper value persists. When displaying a wallpaper, display current wallpaper or initial wallpaper. As soon as the user changes to wallpaper to anything, reset the initial wallpaper. So that need to set the wallpaper. Instead, set this new pref for initial wallpaper. This pref is decoupled from here on from our experiment. That's interesting. I want to know how that works. So I've not actually read this patch yet. But I'm just kind of you're watching me absorb what's happening in real time. So that's the first step to reviewing a patch, is to understand what's being addressed and try and get your head wrapped around the solution that the author is going for. And Scott says, to test, set a wallpaper to anything and copy that pref value to new tabs wallpaper's wallpaper and note the ID. Mine was Firefox A. Clear your wallpaper and then set this to whatever ID you made note of in step 2. New tabs should have that wallpaper, and if you set it to another wallpaper, it should clear the initial wallpaper pref. And then test enrollment. 2 possible experiment setups for this because the legacy experiment is still running. You can run this, payload, initial wallpaper, pocket new tab. For each of the above, new profile, install Nimbus DevTools, enroll in the above experiment. Should now see a wallpaper. Go to About Status, unroll from the experiment. Should be something like, should still have the wallpaper. Reset the wallpaper. Should now be blank. Okay, great. So he tested all of the cases that I care about manually. Let's look at how his patch works. So we start by having a notion. So base.jsx is sort of like the top level React component on the new tab page. Experiments its initial wallpaper. There's the selected wallpaper, the initial wallpaper, the uploaded wallpaper, which we don't send anything over the network, but that's the custom wallpaper one. And then wallpaper list, that's the list of wallpapers that are available. So you choose whether or not you get the wallpaper or the initial wallpaper. And that, if they're both nullish, then we will return null, it looks like. If active wallpaper, otherwise return null. If not selected, selected is go through the list and find the active wallpaper. If it's not, so if there's no attribution, then we get out of there. Oh, this is for rendering the attribution. Okay, so we just get out of there, and then down here, update the wallpaper. The wallpaper or the initial wallpaper. The active wallpaper is the wallpaper or the initial wallpaper. That makes sense. And then here, if we do what? If we set the wallpaper or change the color, we set the initial wallpaper to empty. And if we handle change, handle color input, handle change, selecting a custom color background. Okay, custom color. And if we set a custom one with the file input, then we will blank that out. Okay. And then we don't need to look at the bundled file. That's just the generated stuff. And then here we have a pref new tab wallpapers, initial wallpaper set by a Nimbus experiment, persists after experiment ends. That's the part I want to see and understand. So in the prefs feed, write initial wallpaper to the user branch so it persists after the experiment ends. The guard prevents overwriting an existing value or a user's explicit wallpaper choice that has already been cleared it. So we check to see in the prefs feed, treehop config, our initial wallpaper to the user branch that persists after the experiment ends. The guard prevents overwriting existing values. So we check to see if there is a wallpaper, initial wallpaper, and that we don't already have a value for initial wallpaper. Okay, then we would write to it, but it would have been overridden by whatever a user had chosen. And then prefs feed on an experiment updated. This is the other one, initial wallpaper set. Initial wallpaper. Let's look at the bug again. He said there are two. There's Pocket new tab, current wallpaper. Oh, I see. I see. We need to test both, right? If current wallpaper and there's no initial wallpaper set, then we will set initial wallpaper. I see. This is for the old, to support the old way of doing this. If current wallpaper, initial wallpaper, then if we have a current wallpaper and we don't have an initial, well, it's very similar. Where is this occurring? Where are we? In initialization. Oh, I see. Initialization versus when the Pocket experiment updates. Ideally, these would kind of get factored out. Ideally, this and what's being called in init and all similar repeated actions on init experiment update would be factored into a common method. However, I realize we are slowly but surely removing the Pocket, was it the Pocket new tab? Slowly but surely retiring the Pocket new tab experiment feature. So it's probably not worth it. Okay. And then a test, wallpaper categories test. That's good. So I'm not the greatest at reading these, but let's see here. Because this is a JSX, it's not nicely formatted by Fabricator. So we're pulling in our testing libraries. And these are the default props that we are going to it should clear initial wallpaper when the wallpaper is removed. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's good. Fire reset. But there are a couple other cases too. We want to do it also if the color is set. We should also add cases here as well for setting the wallpaper and setting a custom color. So we're missing those. And then this is some stubbing. And then a prefs feed test. So it should set the initial wallpaper when the current wallpaper is set and the initial wallpaper is unset. Good. Should not overwrite initial wallpaper if it is already set. Never called. Yes. Never call set. Yes. This seems sensible. This seems very sensible, but I think I'm not loving some of the duplication here. And do we need, like, get train hop config, I believe is called in init. So let's just double check that. In init, yes. Okay, so that is sort of like going by what I was saying before, where we want one place, a one-stop shop. So that makes sense. So I think I'm actually going to approve this patch, but I would like, this makes sense. I like that this can go out in the next train hop. Let's add some additional tests for setting the wallpaper and setting a custom color in wallpaper categories, but then I think this can land. Thanks. Good job, Scott. All right, and the other thing I wanted to review was this one. Clicking the new tab background no longer removes fake focus from the home and new tab search box. And the reason I've been asked to review this is because, whoops, let me put that back. It's because I helped work on this. And yeah, it used to be the case that clicking on the background would clear the fake focus. Relayed the call before such and such. Add event listener relayed the call to the input element. Now the URL bar is the container element itself, so it has to add its own event listener, and other code needs to explicitly add listeners on the input field. So on content search parent, the input field. Oh. Before this, and what is this? Should be able to toggle browser search widget new at runtime. And that is defaulting to true. Search bar based on URL bar code. Okay. So we need to be focusing on the input field. URL bar is the container element, so it has its own event listener, and other code needs to explicitly add listeners on the input field. So I'm not really like, this is I'll review this, but I am not a search reviewer, but I did work on this stuff. So I think this makes perfectly good sense. It seems like now the URL bar with search widget new, if we take a look at URL bar input, we've got this, is it a lit element or just a standard web component? Let's see. It's just a standard web component, but we have this input field, and that is the thing that we want to attach event listeners for. So it has its own add event listener, and other code needs to explicitly add listeners on the input field. But I guess key down doesn't bubble? Let's check that. Debugger. I mean, I think I would expect those things to bubble. on done, on key down, mouse down, blur. So let's on key down. Let's put an event listener here. Log key down. Or we'll not put in a listener, we'll put a log statement there. And we will now, let's use handoff. Key down. So, I am unsure why we need this. Is it because blur doesn't? Does blur not on done? Done. So I should be doing this. If I hit escape, like if I focus that and click out, it doesn't happen. Let us look at the stack when it does occur. Let me actually set a breakpoint. Escape, and that was on key down, not on blur. And this one happens also on key down. On key down. Okay. So blur, click, blur, MDN blur event. The event does not bubble. But the related focus out event that follows does bubble. Okay, that's why. And so I think there's a little bit of completionism happening here, where it's like, okay, well, all of these should probably be on the input field. That, to me, makes sense. So let's make sure this is exhaustive. Input field, remove event listener, add event listener. Yes. And then content search parent, similarly. Yes, and then a test. Very good. Click handoff, wait for condition, wait until it has fake focus is true. And then click on content to blur the URL bar. Wait for condition. Remove tab, close window, fake focus, removed on blur PBM. Same thing on private browsing mode. Yeah, okay, that's good. And then this, we're click handoff. Click handoff. I guess are we factoring that out? Okay, yeah, we are factoring that out. Yes. Handoff has fake focus. Handoff has fake focus. Okay. Yeah, okay. I think that all makes good sense. I do want to test a few things. I want to test that this, let's test that that works as advertised. Oops, we want that. Apply to here. And then after that, I want to start talking about a download sidebar. We're going to start exploring the practicalities of a download sidebar. Sorry, I'm just checking. Make sure no high priority messages are coming through. Let me mute my phone. Looks like... Oh, good. Ooh. Ooh. Which is matter about this. Oh, that's interesting. So apparently, there's a new feature in mock test called Auto. Automatically select tests based on local changes using BugBug. Optional content confidence level. That's really interesting. So what it'll do is it will locally select and run tests based on your local changes. That's a neat idea. Good job. Good job. Cool. Okay. Well. We will check that out. Okay, so I have built this. Let us now run. I'm actually curious to know what it will say whenever I'm going to try it. Let's try it on this particular patch. So we've got our build here, and so if I click on the outside, yes, focus gets cleared. Same thing on about private browsing. That's nice. Now, if I disable that preference, widget.new, what happens? Also works. And here, yeah, that's nice. Although, let me just double check that that doesn't require a restart. Yeah, okay. I like it. That works nicely. Okay, so let us now test auto. What's it gonna do? Test auto, and then I give it a level, optional confidence level, extensive, moderate, or quick. Let's do quick. Oh, that's the default. So mock test auto. This is exciting. How's this gonna work? Is it an elaborate April Fool's joke? Is it an elaborate April Fool's joke? Asks Smurf D. That's a great question. Querying BugBug for test recommendations. What do you recommend, BugBug? Excuse me. Okay, so there's a little bit of a delay. It's possible that it's just getting absolutely hammered by people right now because an email went out to tell people that this feature existed, and it's just very popular. That's possible. Or maybe this is an elaborate April Fool's joke. Well, let's let that run in the background. I am going to say I like this. This is good. I am going to approve this. At the very least, I actually do want to run this test file. So in a separate window, or a separate terminal, I will run that. I'll run it in headless mode. Oh, here we go. BugBug recommended these things. So let me shut this down. Oh, geez. Because I was running the other one, streaming usage not allowed. An error occurred. But it recommended these tests. That's a lot of tests. I'm not going to do that right now. I am going to run this one, though. This one seems the most relevant. And then we'll let CI do the rest. Uh-oh. Let's try that again. I don't like that. So I didn't make any local changes, so what could this be? Let me just try running against main just to make sure that this test doesn't always fail for me on this machine. right. So what am I talking about for a sidebar for all this sidebar business? What was I meaning? Well, if you let me open up another profile. So we've got sidebar here. Great. And some of the things that it supplies are like, you can have an LLM show up in the sidebar, or you can show tabs from other devices. You can show history. You can show bookmarks. You can show passwords. There's another information resource, which is what have you downloaded recently? We have a couple ways of accessing that. One of them, the most obvious way, is with the downloads button, but that button does not appear by default until you actually have downloaded something in that session. So for example, if I go to, here, if I just download this image, save image, and save it to downloads, then this button shows up, and okay, I've got the button, and I can see, and then if I do this, I can see like all my downloads in the library window, and that is like the old school way of finding your downloads, is the library window. There's another way, which is about:downloads, which is not very intuitive. And we were thinking, we're adding all of these entry points to certain information to the sidebar. Maybe downloads should go there, and like we can put another nail in the coffin of the library. Like the long duration goal is to get rid of the library. And once we've got like the sidebar acting as like with enough feature parity, we can just like get rid of the library entirely. No one on the team enjoys working on the library. We don't like the library, but we realize that it has certain features that people rely on. So we will remove it once we feel like we have adequate feature parity. And so this is one of those things that we would like, maybe, is the ability for someone to list their downloads in the sidebar. So how would we do that? That is the question. But before we get there, let us quickly see if this test now passes, that I've undone that patch. So this test always seems to fail for me. Is this test not supposed to run on Mac OS? Yes, skip on Mac OS, that's why. It started failing about a month ago since this. Okay. So there's something up there, but it is expected that that test will fail. So if we're happy with it in automation for the other platforms, I'm going to go ahead and approve this. I say thanks. Submit approval. All right, now let's talk about this downloads sidebar thing. So if you take a look at how the existing sidebar works, we can start inspecting the source code, or start inspecting the DOM. You've got what is effectively a browser, the sidebar browser, and inside that is a document. And that document is sidebar customize. But if we change the document that's loaded, let's say we load history instead, then instead of sidebar customize, the document we load is, where is it? Come on, where'd you go? Is sidebar history. So presumably what we want to do is create something called like sidebar downloads and load that. So somewhere there is a list of the things that can be loaded, and we should figure out where that list is. Desktop actor registry, browser sidebar, make sidebar, view history sidebar. If sidebar revamp enabled, do this, otherwise load that. If sidebar revamp enabled, load this, otherwise load that. So we want to add, I think, something here. Generate sidebars map. We're going to add a sidebar view downloads sidebar. Register pref sidebar. What's the difference between, what is a pref sidebar? Maybe this is what we want to do. Register pref sidebar. Yeah, this is probably what we want. We want to register a pref sidebar. If browser dot what's the pref that we would care about? Presumably there is like a browser dot sidebar. No, sidebar ML chat sidebar. So there is the top level sidebar pref list, but I'll bet you what they're expecting us to do is to have within the download namespace, download, browser.download, we should probably have like dot sidebar. Yeah, browser.download sidebar. Okay, can do. Let us create a simple document that loads in the event that that pref is set. So this is the file browser-sidebar. So jj new main add origin. And actually, let's describe what we're doing with JJ. JJ describe bug such and such, add preliminary downloads sidebar disabled by default. Okay, so where do we want to go? We wanted to put that inside of browser-sidebar. Okay, browser-sidebar. We're going to put it here at the bottom of the pref sidebar list here, I guess. And so browser.download.sidebar.enabled, and then we'll use this downloads sidebar view, downloads view. Is it view history, view tabs, sidebar? Yeah, that would be conventionally accurate. And then name downloads, element ID. Ooh, I don't know what any of this stuff is. So what does this take? It takes a config, which is passed to make sidebar. Does make sidebar, there's not a lot of documentation on what the config is. Takes command. So I'm gonna have to do some guessing here. Unless, oh, docs. Yeah, docs. Config. No? Come on. All right, well. Element ID, what will it use that for? It's going to reach within the document. So this is expecting to run within the parent process. Okay. Because it's reaching into the DOM directly. So element ID, sidebar switcher, tab, sidebar switcher history. Let's call it sidebar switcher downloads. And then we're gonna have this live under browser content sidebar downloads. Menu ID, menu, downloads, sidebar, Elton ID, menu view, menu view GenIA page assist, menu view GenIA chat, menu view synced tabs sidebar, menu view history button, menu view downloads sidebar is what I'll call it. Revamp L10 ID. What is sidebar? Menu L10 ID to expose this conditional tool. Revamp L10 ID. What is the difference? Revamp. Sidebar menu JAI page assist label. Okay. Sidebar menu. Downloads. Label. Okay. Icon URL. So this is a great opportunity to load up Storybook and look for our icon directory, filter on download. Downloads. Perfect. We'll take that. Icon URL. Glean event. Glean click event. Sidebar. I guess we'll want a Glean event for downloads icon click. Record sidebar version. I don't know what that's for. Oh, in the Glean event. Yeah, might as well. So we're gonna we have added a bunch of stuff here, but one of the things we need to do is we need to add this document. We need to add some strings. We need to add a Glean event. So the Glean event might be the simplest to start with. So what do we have here? Glean metrics, password icon click. So presumably there's something in here called password icon click. Okay, so we're gonna copy this and we're gonna say downloads icon click. The downloads icon was clicked. Bugs, I don't have one yet, so I'm gonna to do. Data reviews to do. It's an interaction. I'm Conley at Mozilla.com. Send in the events ping. Extra keys sidebar open when the sidebar is collapsed or expanded. Great. So we've done that. We need, where are these strings? Sidebar, menu, password manager, label. In the sidebar.ftl. Great. Sorry. We want, where's this label? Labels for sidebar menu items. So great. We're going to add one here. Downloads. Downloads. Okay. And then there's this menu view downloads sidebar. So right, we have, of course, we haven't added it yet. Bookmarks sidebar. What's another one? Menu view contextual password manager. Sure. Okay. Passwords. So do we need one here for downloads? Menu view. Download sidebar. Downloads. Okay. So we've done that one, done that one. The menu ID, we need to add an ID. No, I guess it gets constructed dynamically. Okay, fine. Then I think what we need to do is construct this sidebar downloads document, and it needs to have an element in it called sidebar switcher downloads. Presumably sidebar switcher mega list. What is that? Megalist.html. Or is it going to try and construct it? Element ID. That doesn't. Let's look for a different one. Let's look for something simpler, like sidebar switcher history. Here we go. Oh. In the main pop-up set, sidebar switcher history. Go to history. Sidebar menu pop-up. I don't know if we want that one. What is this? AI Page assist. No. Generic chat, no. Sidebar switcher bookmarks. That's going to be in this list. So, sidebar switcher tabs. Sync to tabs. It's here. So what does it mean if the element ID does not exist? Get source Elton, observe title changes. Element, if not element. Oh, so it doesn't, it can be empty. All right, that's a little unusual, but okie dokie. Downloads. So I don't know if this this thing matters. I'm just gonna put in like M Conley dummy value to do, and then let's see if we can get this document to load. So we need to add a new document under, where is it? Browser content sidebar, sidebar downloads. Where's sidebar history? It's under browser components sidebar. So we're gonna create a new document. Touch, browser components sidebar, sidebar downloads.html. Right? Yeah. And then we need to package it. Sidebar downloads. Downloads. And we're going to need the CSS file as well, and an MJS file. Okay, build. Oh, I guess let's put something inside the HTML document. Let's copy history and just let's do the simplest thing. We'll get content theme, global overlay, edit menu overlay, but we will get rid of all of these things. Tab list, empty state, branding, places, sidebar. We'll get rid of view, light, dark, sidebar, downloads title. Sidebar to FTL. We want sidebar, downloads, title, downloads, I guess, sure. I mean, because like sync to tabs, yeah. I'm just gonna put like a hello world in there. Okay, let's see. Let's see if that builds. No, not a fan of Glean. Found some problems. Glinter knits. Empty data review. List of data reviews should not contain empty strings or to-do markers. Aha. Okay, so doesn't like to-do. I'm gonna say bug. Is there? Okay. Is there a bug for downloads sidebar? Show the downloads on the sidebar, same as history. Add support for downloads sidebar. Let's use this for now. So actually we want the link and data reviews. I'm going to put in to do. Not to do. Question marks. Just, I want to get this to build. And then maybe we can wire up. We can wire up. Oh, we need to also add our pref. We'll put it here. Browser downloads sidebar enabled. True if the downloads sidebar should be available. I don't know where the enable or disablement pref is stored actually. That's kind of interesting because there's the if it's available and then whether or not a user has chosen to turn it on or off. I don't know where that list is stored. Like, whoops, sorry. Sidebar, command, oh, I see, here. It's listed here on which ones are enabled. Okay. All right, run. So the sidebar should be off by default. I'm gonna pref it on in my local build here. Sidebar, yeah, I don't see it. So let's go ahead and config sidebar. Download, sidebar enabled, on, view, sidebar, downloads. Hello world, there you are. And I don't see an icon for it or an entry here. Okay, so that's a, we need to make sure that an entry is available here. And how do we, where's the other entry point? Downloads, hello world. That's a good step though, a good start. Let's see if we need to manually add some kind of item here. A Moz button, a ghost button, this button group, and the sidebar main. Sidebar main. Ah, tooltips. So there's more static stuff. Create splitter. Or would it require me to like restart or open a new window? Oh, okay. Well, let me restart anyways. Okay, still not there. So is there anything in here statically for bookmarks? That's it, just for tooltips. Interesting. Moz button. Create element, create copy button. That's not right. On sidebar showing event. Entry point template. Entry point template for the button group. For tools. Render. Add one to tools. So the list of tools. If I were to add like downloads to this list of tools. Doesn't show. Sidebar tools. So how do I get, is tools overflowing? Should overflow. When sidebar revamp visibility. Sidebar main. I guess I'll set a breakpoint inside of sidebar main. Do you have an icon for downloads? I do. I set, what did I do? I set it to be this icon, downloads.svg. So let's set a breakpoint here. When this expanded, it's going to go through get tools and extensions. Okay, this dot get tools and extensions. So we got a map back, and it does not include the download sidebar. So what does get tools and extensions do? Get tools and extensions on the sidebar controller. Okay. Return a map of tools and extensions for use in the sidebar. Get tools, get extensions. So tools, if it exists, for each. Tools and extensions, get tools. Return object keys, tools, name, map, filter, sidebars, get command. Tools, name, map. Oh, okay. So I guess I have to add it to this as well. All right. I don't know why that is, but let us do that. Browser sidebar, view, downloads, sidebar, downloads, tools, name map. So CPM sidebar, that's that. Download sidebar, is that. Yep, okay, works for me. Is this in alphabetical order? Not really. Okay, so we'll leave it as is. We'll build and try again. Still nothing. Oh, there's an entry here, but it's empty, and I can turn it on. Oh, do I have a breakpoint set? Let's turn off our breakpoints. Aha! So I can turn it on. That's what's up. Now, let's take a look at the this funkiness here. Moz checkbox, view downloads, label, Moz label. Contextual password manager, downloads, doesn't have an L10N ID. So that's the one we need to supply. Revamp L10N ID. I thought I supplied sidebar menu downloads label. Doesn't look like it was set. So if I do like data L10N ID that, what happens? It shows up. Okay, so that's ultimately what I want. I don't know why that's not showing up though in sidebar customize. Revamp L10N ID. Is there another like static? Download sidebar menu downloads label. I supplied that. Did I spell that right? I did. All right. Restart. Yeah, it doesn't show up. So I want to understand why the tools, we must be going through the tools list. And for some reason, the revamp ID is not being assigned. So where am I? In something called sidebar-customize. Revamp. Oh, no. The L10 ID is set to get tools in tool input template. tool input template is if the tool is hidden, return null. Otherwise, the data L10ID will be if defined get input L10NID, which is the L10NID map. L10ID, okay, here it is. View, downloads, sidebar. So, downloads, label. Okay. Restart. There it is. So we can turn it on, and there's our list. Great. And we can turn it off, and it goes away. I like it. So it took a little bit of doing, but we got our list. All right. Now, one thing to note about these sidebars, at least, like, let's not look at the bookmarks one because that's an old Zuli one, but like the history one and the tabs from other devices, there's like a common pattern here, which is to have the title at the top, a close button, and a search input. And I don't believe there's like a common, unfortunately not a common component here. This is like internal to each page. So we have to kind of implement this ourselves, which is annoying, but I don't think it'll be too bad. So let's try it. So sidebar downloads, let's take a look at history to start with. And they inject something called sidebar history. So there is a lit element here that's doing a lot of the heavy lifting. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to define a lit element to do most of our heavy lifting. We don't necessarily need that. I don't know if we're going to need sidebar page. Let's not include things if we don't need them. So we'll get rid of a bunch of stuff. And we'll call this sidebar downloads. It extends sidebar page. Oh, so we might actually get to inherit some of this. That's nice. So I do want sidebar page, is what I'm realizing. Sidebar page might take care of a lot of some of the repetitive nature of what we're doing here. I don't actually know what sidebar page provides. Looks like just styling. It doesn't look like it renders. No, it doesn't render anything, just like behavior. Okay. Too bad, too bad, too bad, too bad. Okay, so then sidebar downloads. The other thing we need to do whenever we define a custom element like that is we need to register it as a custom element. So we'll do that over here. Sidebar downloads. And in sidebar downloads, we'll also replace our hello world with sidebar downloads. Because, yeah, that's how it's done. And then most of our work, I think, is going to happen in here. So we're going to need a render. There's a style sheet. What is this style sheet? Is that coming from sidebar page? Style sheet? Yeah, getting the sidebar style. Okay, interesting. Common style sheet for all sidebar pages. Very well. Very well. So let's put a render. I don't know why this is defaulting to 2 spaces. I need to change my VS Code to always do, or 4 space to always do 2 spaces. We're gonna have the same approach here where we will return this. And I'm gonna do a hello world. And let's build that. Next, I want to put in the close button and a title. So we'll have the structure where we could potentially put in a list. If we can get it to show one download today, even if it's not the full UI isn't like developed, I'll be happy. Ugh, this isn't a good sign though. Why? Appearing. Browser sidebar. We're in sidebar downloads in the body. Sidebar downloads. Nothing. Did we properly? Oh, you know what it is? I know what it is. We need to bring in the actual module. I think that happens up here. Sidebar downloads. I wonder if I don't need to build. Let's see what happens if I don't. Hello. There you are. There you are. Okay, let us get our close button. Sidebar panel header. We do want that. Where's that come from? Where's that come from? Sidebar panel header. Is that available from... Where's that come from? Sidebar panel header. Here. When is this brought in? Sidebar page. Sidebar page knows about it. Okay. So sidebar panel header. We're going to do this exact same thing. A little bit of repetition, unfortunately. Sidebar panel header, data L10N, menu downloads header, heading view downloads sidebar, options container, input search, Firefox view search text box history. We're gonna call this something else. Search. Sidebar search results header. Search. Sidebar customize panel. Is there like a downloads area? Let's add a downloads. Titles for sidebar menu labels for sidebar bookmarks menu headings. Or is it expecting all of this to like live outside? It's possible, but I'm just gonna say downloads strings here. Downloads panel strings. That just needs to be improved, but we're gonna say over here. What's a good other example? Bookmarks. Sure, bookmarks. What they use for their header, for search. They again use Firefox view search because I guess, do they already have this in? Do they have downloads in Firefox view? I think they're working on it. Are they not? Firefox view. They don't. That's too bad. I guess that was part of what they wanted to do here, was to put downloads. So maybe part of this is adding downloads to Firefox View, unfortunately. That might end up being what we need to do here, is we need to add downloads to Firefox View. Just to be consistent. I don't want to do that in the last 10 minutes. So what I'm going to do for now then is I'm not going to put in a placeholder. I will do like to do add search input placeholder. Options container, search, this on search query. So we need to have an on search query handler, I guess. On search query. Okay. And I will just do nothing. Wait, does that have a return value? No. We just do nothing. Event handler, and then down here, mouse button, open menu, history, sidebar, bookmarks. Okay, we will not do that. We will not have a menu button. And then we will not have a cards template. We will instead go hello world. Hello, world. Great. What? All right, that doesn't look amazing. I wonder if it's because it's missing the string, the title there. Sidebar panel heading. Sidebar panel heading. I've got header, downloads header. Right. Sidebar menu, downloads header equals dot heading downloads. Okay. So then reload. Hey, it's my good friend Chip X86. Yo! Good to see ya. Hope you're doing well. If you don't follow Chip X86, you should on Twitch. Periodically streams, and I think I saw a bit of your last stream where you were talking with some like game developers. Some really fascinating game dev stuff that you've been streaming lately, which I think is pretty cool. And if you're not familiar with Review Board, that's another thing that ChipX86 works on. You should check it out, reviewboard.org. Yeah, producer at Atari/Night Dive. Cool, very cool. It's good to see you. Glad to have you in the chat. All right, so we've got our... I'm not loving the spacing here. I wonder why that's different. You know what it is? It's because of the meatball or the kebab menu here. There was already kind of that collision happening, and this might be because of Nova. Until I turn off Nova. Yeah, that's what's going on. Okay, so let's not worry about it for Nova for now. But we've got our downloads here. I just want to make it so that I can query the list of downloads and show them here in the sidebar. And then I'll be happy. And then we can call the stream done. And then I need to go talk to the Firefox View team about whether or not they want to just like add downloads here to the View UI. Yes, we do need to catch up. I need to sort of rejoin the... I got a new computer, and so I need to rejoin all of like the communications channels that I used to be in. One of them was with the good folk at the Review Board at Beanbag. All right, so in order to get the list of downloads, I have to... that's all I needed. I will be back. After work today. I will find the way. See our new Review Board announcement today? Let's see. News. March 31st. 7.0.5. Congratulations. I mean, it's been... What a... I was working on Review Board. I was volunteering as a contributor back in like the Review Board 3 days. It's been a while since I've submitted a patch, but like, look how far you've come. Oh, here. Modernize your punch card review. Very good. A reminder, everybody, today is Digital Literacy and Critical Thinking Day. Very good. Oh, I don't know if my uncle is watching this or my aunt, but they will love this. I think this is their jam. When they were computing, well, I think they were using keyboards too, but I also think that was back when punch machines were still in use. Amazing. Amazing. Look at this. Incredible. Yeah, open an issue on this Fortran card. Incredible. That's very exciting. I love this font, actually. That's extremely readable. Good job. Good job on the artwork. This is very funny. Good job. This is like A+ April Fools, because like it's harmless. This is harmless, but obviously a joke. And it's harmless. I've seen some other stuff today which I'm like, I don't know if that's harmless. I heard about a dress code email went out about telling everyone you have to be wearing, like, even if you're working from home, you need to be wearing like dress to the nines. Like, we want to see business formal in all meetings from here forward. And I think a number of people realized it was April Fool's. A number of people did not and got quite upset. They were like, I need to, like, I have no time. I have to go, like, refresh my wardrobe and get a bunch of expensive clothing. It was a little bit of a cluster. But this is great. Coffee stain detected. The stuff you never had to deal with. A+, April Fool's joke. Well done. Well done. All right, let's see if we can get a download to appear here. Let's have a download in the queue. Let's download an image. Let's download this image of Drake. Amazing. Very Canadian. And so I've got that now in my list of downloads. Can we get that download to appear here? I believe there is a library that we have to import to get the downloads list. How does this work? I think this will work, but I don't actually know. It's been a while since I've thought about downloads, the downloads UI. Right, that's what gets it. There's something called a downloads view. Content area downloads view. Which I think exposes a data structure to us. Builds and updates the downloads list widget, responding to changes in the download state and real-time data. In addition, it handles part of the user interaction. So I need to remember, like, what do you do with one of these things? You pass a structure, this JavaScript structure. You register. Oh, okay. Initialize. Download spam protection register. If what is that? And then the controller. You add yourself. Get the data for the window that you're in, and you add yourself. And this is because you might be a private browsing window. So we have to check the type of window that you're in, because those two things are, one's stored in memory and one's stored in Places, the database. And we add ourselves as a view. What is this spam protection thing? Download spam protection. This is new to me. Responsible for detecting events related to download spam and notifying the relevant Windows spam protection object. This is a singleton object constructed by download integration when the first download is blocked. It's from back in the day. 2022. Okay. You want to, I guess, do that separately from registering with downloads common. I'm not going to worry about that for now. Let us not worry about the spam protection stuff. Instead, I want to look at a view. This object must be passed to remove view before termination. And what is the definition of a view? Add view. Oh, do we want to, like, extend this prototype? Downloads. What was that thing called? It was called a downloads view prototype. No. Downloads view. Downloads view. What is that thing? Downloads view. Functions. It's some global that's available in the scope. Downloads content. Downloads content. Downloads view. Who wrote this? contains the following constructors and globals objects. As part of the user interaction event. View item builds a single item that downloads list widget responding to changes in the download state. Okay. So, but where do these come from? Because I don't see them being imported. Also, downloads view.rich list box. Uh-oh, that's not good. I'm not gonna be allowed to use one of those. Oh, we define it ourselves. Wait, that was the file I was just in. How come I didn't find that? Okay. So we can take this structure. It's an object that I presume is mainly on download, click on download button, on download key press, context menu. It's unfortunately not super clear, and to define a constant on us. It's not super clear what the structure is meant to be for what you pass to add view. It'd be nice. This is from back in the day, so this is pre ES6 classes. Which is unfortunate. And then we have this downloads view prototype, which is maybe not the same. Data CTOR, add view. Download list. Ah, here we go. The view to add the following methods may be defined. Okay. Let us just try doing this. When we construct this thing, what is it? Connect. There's a callback, and I can't remember what it is. Connected callback, disconnected callback. Those are the ones. So when we connect ourselves to the DOM, we need to super and here's where we will register ourselves. Because what we're going to be getting is this. Following methods. The newly added view will receive on download added notifications for all the downloads that are already in the list. Okay. So this is just a way of keeping track. Okay. So what we'll do is define on download added. We're not going to worry about any of the other ones. And then I'm going to say this dot. We'll have I guess, our list of downloads, which will also expose as, what do we do here in Litland? Properties. So we will static properties downloads is an array. And when a download is added, kind of a pain, but what we're going to do is we're going to say this dot downloads equals, and we're going to add, we want to like create a new array, this dot downloads download. I want to clone the array like this and then reassign. It's a little annoying, but that's because arrays are not immutable, and lit elements expect properties to be internally immutable. You need to overwrite them with a new value in order to have the sort of the state update stuff rattle down through. So I have to like clone the array, append the item, reassign, which is a bit of an annoyance, but for now that will do. And then in here, I'm going to do this. This dot downloads map. And then where have I seen this pattern before? HTML. Or maybe this is better. Download item template. You return HTML, and I'm just gonna say H1, and the download itself, I presume there is a definition of what the download is. Download list, add view. What is the definition of a download? Download summary, download core, downloads, download store. That might be worth looking at. Or even better is if we take a look at the things that call on download added. So that's this. So download list. List. Download history list. And then, yeah, what do you do with the download? I want to see other people who handle that callback on download added. Notify all views. Nope. On download added. Here we go. Let's look for a simple one. No. What do you do? Download source.url. Perfect. That's enough for me. So I'm gonna map this dot download item template. And we're gonna render download.source.url. I don't know if I'm doing this right, but let's see. Doesn't look like it. But let's see here. If I open up, I do have a download here. I do not have a download here. And if we open up the DevTools, sidebar downloads, let us. Oh, we never added ourselves as a view. That's why. Okay, so now I need to add ourselves as a view. Public list, constructor download history list. What we're gonna do is for add view, I want to do it that way. How do I? Yeah, downloads common, get data, window, add view, downloads view. Instead, though, we're going to do this. Downloads common, get data, window, add view, this. And then remove view. We will do the opposite. When we disconnect and then downloads common, we can bring in this way. Now, tempted. Okay, it seems like it's okay to bring in privileged stuff in this part of the code base, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Downloads common. I'm going to end this stream in about 2 minutes, but I want to get this working. I want the list to appear. Data window, add view, this. Okay. Let's see. Still nothing. Start downloads is undefined. Interesting. Oh. Let us inspect the element. Whoop. Undefined. Correct. Correct. What do we do here? Queries on properties. Bookmarks is an object. Search results. Oh, in the constructor, we need to initialize it. Okay, fine. Fine. Super. All right. So now it's appearing, but our list isn't showing up. Sorry, I did not want that dev tool to appear. So it's still empty. So we never got our list of downloads. Let's download this image and see if we get updated. Replace. Aha! Okay, so what we need is to get the, let's do another one. Let's download this image. Okay, so that's working. Now we need to wire it up to the historical downloads. So it's not just the ones that, well, I guess I need to talk to get a clearer sense of what we want to do long-term wise. Like I've got this work in progress, like prototype thing kind of listing downloads, but I need to know exactly what we want to show up in this list because I'm doing the same thing that the panel does, which is list the most recent downloads, but I am listing all of them. So maybe it was just here, let's start over. Okay, so nothing. I download. Replace. Shows up here. Restart the browser. Does not appear, and the downloads button does not appear. And if I open up places, it is here. It's listed as failed, interestingly. If I restart that download, it shows up. So I need to sort of like figure out what the, no build needed. A lot of this stuff is dynamic. At least on Mac OS, I didn't need to do a build. So does that work? It does work. Off the cuff. So I've got the makings of something here. I'd say this is maybe a couple of days from having a working prototype that is like feature complete. But I need to talk to our designers to see what users would expect to show up in here. Should it match what's in the panel or should it match what's in the library? And I suspect it should match what's in the library, but I will talk to them and find out. But with that, I think I'm going to end the stream. Hey, thank you so much for watching episode, what was this? 435 of The Joy of Coding. Let me know what you thought. There's a link here at the agenda to rate this episode. I'm going to drop a link here. Link to rate this episode. And drop it in the chat. Let me know what you thought. What do you want to see more of? What do you want to see less of? Is this at all interesting? Would you rather I explain other things or talk about other stuff? If you have questions like this one, feel free to send them in through the form. I'll do my best to try and answer them. And with that, I will call it there. Have yourselves a great week, everybody. Special shout out to my good friend ChipX86, who is in the chat. Thanks for being here. And have yourselves a great week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
The joy of coding.
See ya.